Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to explore something really fascinating that I know a lot of ARMY have probably wondered about at some point, and that is whether JUNGKOOK, the golden magne of BTS, could ever win an Academy Award, an Oscar, one of the most prestigious honors in the entertainment industry. Now, before anyone gets too excited or concerned, let me be completely clear right from the start, JUNGKOOK is not currently nominated for an Oscar. There's no BTS project in the running for the Oscars happening this Sunday, March 15th, 2026, and this video is not claiming that any of that is happening. What we're doing today is exploring a genuinely interesting question. Given JUNGKOOK's incredible talents, his global success, and the changing landscape of both Hollywood and the Academy Awards, is it actually possible that he could win an Oscar at some point in the future? And if so, what would that pathway look like? What would need to happen? What skills does he already have and what would he need to develop? This is pure speculation and analysis, but I think it's really fun and interesting speculation that's actually grounded in reality and precedent. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and drop a comment telling me whether you think JUNGKOOK could win an Oscar and in what category, because I really want to hear your thoughts. Let's dive into this fascinating exploration. So let me start by establishing why this question is even worth asking, because the Academy Awards in K-pop might seem like they exist in completely different universes, right? But here's the thing, musicians winning Oscars is not actually that unusual, and we've seen some really interesting crossover between the music industry and Oscar recognition over the years. Let's look at some concrete examples that show this is actually possible. Eminem won an Academy Award for Best Original Song in 2003 for Lose Yourself from the film 8 Mile. This wasn't just a token nomination, he beat out some serious competition and won one of the most coveted awards in entertainment. Lady Gaga won an Oscar for Best Original Song in 2019 for Shallow from A Star Is Born, and she was also nominated for Best Actress for that same film, showing that musicians can compete in multiple categories. Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas won Best Original Song in 2022 for No Time to Die from the James Bond film. 3 6 Mafia won for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp from Hustle and Flow. Common and John Legend won for Glory from Selma. The list goes on. The point is that musicians, even those who aren't primarily known as film composers, absolutely can and do win Academy Awards, particularly in the Best Original Song category. Now, why is this relevant to JUNGKOOK? Because JUNGKOOK is one of the most talented and versatile musicians in the world right now. He's proven himself as an exceptional vocalist, he's demonstrated songwriting ability, he's shown he can work across different genres and styles, and he has the kind of global recognition and industry respect that would make him a viable candidate for contributing to a major film project. When you look at what musicians who've won Oscars brought to the table, JUNGKOOK actually checks a lot of those boxes. He has vocal ability that rivals or exceeds many Oscar-winning musicians. He has proven commercial success and the ability to top charts globally. He has demonstrated artistic range and the ability to convey emotion through music. He has name recognition that would be valuable to any film project. And perhaps most importantly, he has the work ethic and dedication to excellence that would be necessary to create Oscar-caliber work. So let's talk about the most realistic and straightforward pathway for JUNGKOOK to win an Oscar, and that would be through the Best Original Song category. This is how most musicians who aren't primarily actors or filmmakers win Oscars, and it's actually a pretty clear path if the right opportunity comes along. Here's what would need to happen. JUNGKOOK would need to write and perform a song specifically for a major theatrical film release. The song would need to be original, meaning written for that film and not a pre-existing track. The film itself would need to be significant enough to get attention during awards season. And the song would need to be not just good, but exceptional, the kind of song that becomes inseparable from the film and resonates with both audiences and Academy voters. Now, is this possible for JUNGKOOK? Absolutely. We've seen his songwriting ability demonstrated through his work on BTS albums and his solo work. We know he can create emotionally powerful music that connects with millions of people. We know he has the vocal ability to deliver a performance that would be worthy of Oscar consideration. The question isn't whether he could create an Oscar-worthy song, it's whether the right opportunity would come along and whether he would choose to pursue it. Think about how this could realistically happen. A major Hollywood studio is developing a film, maybe an action film, maybe a romantic drama, maybe something with Asian themes or characters that would make sense for Korean artist involvement. The director or music supervisor, recognizing Jungkook's global appeal and musical talent, reaches out about contributing an original song. Jungkook, perhaps during a period between BTS activities or as a solo project, decides to take on the challenge. He works with the filmmakers to understand the emotional core of the film and creates a song that perfectly captures what the movie is trying to convey. The song becomes a hit. Maybe it's played during a crucial emotional moment in the film, maybe it plays over the end credits, and it becomes one of those songs that people associate with the movie forever. If the film is successful and if the song resonates with Academy voters, which tend to be older and have different musical tastes than the general public but are increasingly diverse and open to different styles, then Jungkook could absolutely find himself nominated for an Oscar. And if the song is genuinely the best of that year, there's no reason he couldn't win. Let's talk about another potential pathway that might be even more interesting and meaningful, and that's through documentary filmmaking. The Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature is incredibly prestigious, and we've seen music documentaries win or get nominated before. Think about films like Amy about Amy Winehouse, or 20 Feet from Stardom about backup singers, or Summer of Soul about the Harlem Cultural Festival. Now imagine a documentary about BTS, not just any documentary but a truly exceptional one that tells their story with depth, artistry, and cultural significance. A film that explores their journey from a small company in Korea to becoming global superstars who've influenced an entire generation, that examines their impact on music, culture, mental health awareness, youth empowerment, and international relations. A documentary that's beautifully made, emotionally powerful, and tells a story that resonates beyond just their existing fanbase. If Jungkook were involved as a producer or subject of such a documentary, and if it were to win Best Documentary Feature, he would be an Oscar winner. Is this likely in the near future? Maybe not immediately, but as BTS's career continues and their story becomes even more historical and significant, a high-quality documentary could absolutely be in the cards, and it could absolutely be Oscar-worthy. Now let's talk about what might be the longest shot but also potentially the most impactful pathway, and that's Jungkook pursuing acting and eventually being nominated for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jungkook isn't an actor, he's a musician and performer. But here's the thing, we've seen musicians successfully transition to acting before, and some have even won Oscars. Will Smith started as a rapper and became an Oscar-nominated actor. Jamie Foxx won an Oscar for playing Ray Charles. Jennifer Hudson won an Oscar in her first film role. The transition from music to acting isn't impossible, it just requires the right combination of natural talent, training, dedication, and opportunity. And when you think about what Jungkook brings to the table, he actually has some significant advantages. He has years of experience performing in front of cameras and live audiences, which means he understands how to convey emotion and control his presence. He has demonstrated the ability to embody different personas and moods through music videos and performances. He has the work ethic and dedication to perfection that would be necessary for serious acting training. He has global recognition that would help any film he's in get attention. And he's still young enough that he has time to develop acting skills if he chose to pursue that path. Here's how this could realistically unfold over the next decade or so. Jungkook, perhaps after BTS activities slow down somewhat or as they transition to a different phase of their career, decides he wants to explore acting. He doesn't jump straight into trying to be a Hollywood leading man. Instead, he starts with smaller roles, maybe in Korean films or Korean dramas, where he can develop his skills in his native language and in a familiar cultural context. He works with acting coaches, he studies the craft, he takes on challenging roles that let him grow as an actor. Maybe he does a few well-received performances in Korean cinema. Then, perhaps he takes on a role in an English-language film, maybe something that plays to his strengths and his authentic background, maybe a musical film where he can use his performance skills, or an action film where his physicality and martial arts training would be assets. If he works hard, if he chooses good projects, if he continues to develop his craft the same way he's developed his musical abilities, there's no reason he couldn't eventually be considered a serious actor. And if he were to deliver an exceptional performance in an exceptional film, an Oscar nomination and even a win wouldn't be impossible. Is this the most likely pathway? Probably not, because it would require years of dedication to a completely different craft. But is it possible? Absolutely. There's also another interesting possibility that people might not think about immediately, and that's JUNGKOOK being involved in film in a behind-the-scenes capacity that could lead to Oscar recognition. We know JUNGKOOK has been developing skills in video production, cinematography, and editing through his GCF series and his interest in filmmaking. What if he continued to develop these skills and eventually transitioned into film production or directing? The Academy Awards have categories for Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, and if someone is a producer on a film that wins Best Picture, they receive an Oscar as well. We've seen musicians transition into production and directing before. We've seen performers become filmmakers. If JUNGKOOK's passion for visual storytelling that he's demonstrated through his self-directed videos continued to develop, if he pursued that seriously, there could potentially be a pathway to Oscar recognition through filmmaking rather than performing. This is probably the most speculative of all the pathways I'm discussing, but it's interesting to consider given what we know about his interests and abilities. Now, let's talk about why the timing might actually be more favorable for something like this than you might think, and that has to do with the changing landscape of both Hollywood and the Academy Awards themselves. The Academy has been making conscious efforts to diversify its membership and to recognize a broader range of films and artists from around the world. We saw this in a huge way when Parasite, a Korean-language film, won Best Picture in 2020, becoming the first non-English language film to ever win the top prize. This wasn't just a fluke, it represented a genuine shift in the Academy's willingness to recognize excellence regardless of where it comes from or what language it's in. We've seen increasing recognition of Asian filmmakers, Asian stories, and Asian performers. We've seen the Academy expand its international membership. We've seen more diverse voting bodies leading to more diverse nominees and winners. All of this creates an environment where someone like JUNGKOOK, a Korean artist with global appeal, could potentially find more acceptance and recognition than might have been possible 20 or 30 years ago. There's also the simple fact that the entertainment industry is becoming increasingly global and interconnected. Hollywood studios are actively seeking projects that will appeal to international audiences, particularly in Asia where the film market is enormous. K-pop and Korean culture have become global phenomena that Hollywood is very aware of and interested in. The success of Korean content on platforms like Netflix has shown that Korean stories and Korean artists can have massive global appeal. All of this creates more opportunities for Korean artists like JUNGKOOK to be involved in projects that could potentially lead to Oscar recognition. It's not about charity or diversity for diversity's sake, it's about Hollywood recognizing that there's incredible talent in Korea and that audiences around the world want to see that talent showcased. Let's also consider what would need to happen from JUNGKOOK's side for any of these pathways to become reality. First and most importantly, he would need to want it. An Oscar can't be and shouldn't be something you pursue just for the sake of having one. It needs to be the result of creating genuinely excellent work in film. If JUNGKOOK decided that film, whether through music contribution, acting, or filmmaking, was something he wanted to seriously pursue, then that decision would be the first and most important step. Second, he would need to be willing to invest the time and effort to create Oscar-caliber work. The Academy Awards, despite their flaws and despite the subjective nature of any awards, generally recognize work that represents excellence in craft. JUNGKOOK would need to apply the same dedication to perfection that he brings to his music to whatever film project he pursued. Third, he would need the right collaborators and the right opportunities. Even the most talented person can't win an Oscar if they're not working on the right project with the right team. He would need to connect with directors, producers, and other filmmakers who share his vision and who could help him create something truly special. Looking at realistic timelines, if JUNGKOOK were to pursue the Best Original Song pathway, that could potentially happen within the next few years if the right opportunity came along. It doesn't require years of training or development, just the right project and the right song. If he were to pursue the documentary pathway, that could happen whenever there's a decision to create a high-quality BTS documentary, which could be within the next 5 to 10 years as their career reaches a point where the full story can be told. If he were to pursue the acting pathway, we're probably looking at a longer timeline, maybe a decade or more, because developing serious acting skills and building a filmography takes time. The behind-the-scenes filmmaking pathway is similarly long-term. But the point is that none of these pathways are impossible, they just require different combinations of opportunity, timing, and dedication. It's also worth noting that even if Jungkook never wins an Oscar, that doesn't diminish his achievements or his impact in any way. The Academy Awards, while prestigious, are just one form of recognition in the entertainment industry. Jungkook has already achieved things that most Oscar winners never will. He's sold out stadiums around the world, he's topped charts globally, he's influenced millions of people through his music and his artistry, he's been recognized by the industry in numerous ways. An Oscar would be an amazing achievement and it would be wonderful to see, but it's not necessary for Jungkook to prove his talent or his impact. This whole discussion is really more about the interesting question of whether these two worlds, K-pop and the Academy Awards, could intersect, and what that might look like. So guys, that's my exploration of whether Jungkook could win an Oscar someday and how it might happen. The short answer is yes, it's absolutely possible, though it would require the right combination of opportunity, timing, and Jungkook choosing to pursue film in some capacity. The most realistic pathway is probably Best Original Song if he were to contribute to a major film. Documentary recognition is possible if a high-quality BTS documentary were made. Acting recognition is possible but would require years of dedication to developing that craft. Behind-the-scenes filmmaking is the most speculative but still within the realm of possibility given his demonstrated interest. And the changing landscape of both Hollywood and the Academy creates a more favorable environment for this kind of crossover than ever before. What do you think? Could you see Jungkook winning an Oscar? Which pathway seems most realistic to you? What kind of film or song would you want to see him create? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments because I find this topic fascinating. And if you enjoyed this exploration, please give this video a huge thumbs up, share it with everyone who's ever wondered about this possibility, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.